But on the radio, it's like, you better get me this right now. I need it right now. Don't ask me a question.
Yeah. You guys ready?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Turn 14 podcast. We just finished up wrapping up the Japanese Grand Prix. What a very exciting and underwhelming weekend, I guess you could call it. But there was a lot that was going on with red flags during the practice. Max putting in the most insane qualifying lap.
That was
which
crazy.
I cannot wait for us to talk about that.
I mean, there was so much to look forward to on this race. We had Yuki coming to Red Bull in his home race, so that was a huge thing that we were really excited for. Unfortunately, it didn't necessarily turn out the way he planned to, but there's definitely, I feel like there's some issues. Some issues that happened in terms of strategy. And then I guess the rest of the race was to see where McLaren would finish. But yeah, very underwhelming race. I guess you get that every once in a while with one of these Formula Ones. It did have a potential to be a wet race, but didn't end up turning that way. So that was a little sucky. But otherwise, I mean, textbook.
Yes, exactly.
Yuki during practice, though, the start of it, if we start at the beginning of the weekend, it was pretty impressive. I was hoping he would. I mean, he was doing great.
He was looking good.
He was looking really good.
Yeah,
being a home race stuff.
4 red flags on P2, so no one could really get anything there. But man, I was hopeful for Yuki to pull it off. And
in P1, when he came just a little slower than Max, I think it was maybe just a thousandth of a second or no, tenth of a second.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, something special can happen here with him.
Listen, free practice sessions made it very clear to me that Yuki knows how to drive that car. And,
for sure.
I mean, it's his first time in it, so I'm going to give him props. He definitely showed, like, I'm here for it. Like, I'm ready to, like, just be Max's teammate and really take this to the next level because, like, I think with Yuki being in the car, Red Bull actually has a chance to fight for the Constructors' Championship. During the free practice sessions, like, he was really doing a great job, I think, and he was really, like, putting in some fast laps. And, we could, obviously outside of all the red flag stuff, but I'm excited to see where he goes for the next couple of races.
Oh, I think this race was solidified his spot and goes to show that he belongs there. Lawson didn't help at all with where he finished. So again, I think it's a relief to see Yuki do so well. Obviously, it wasn't the result that he wanted, but I'm sure with all of the added pressure and all of the talks that were happening prior to the race, for him to at least do so well in P1, P2, P3 was pretty good.
Yeah. I think this weekend went as good for Red Bull as it possibly can. Obviously, Max winning is great, but with Yuki, I think it's clear now that Yuki can do more with this car than Lawson can. I don't think it's as maybe big of a gap as we were expecting, and another sign that there's improvements that Red Bull can do for the car. And so they have a lot of potential to grow, I think, for the rest of the season. And Yuki seems like the man to do it for them. And then obviously with Max winning, I think puts them in a good spot. It's a lot better of an outcome for Red Bull this weekend than I was expecting.
Yeah, for sure. I agree 100%. I think, the performance difference between Yuki and Lawson is night and day. And even during like the 2 first races, like FP1, FP2, all the like the free practice stuff, like Lawson, I know he's a very talented driver. I just think it was too soon for him to get in that Red Bull car and just how, the operating window on that car is so like minuscule that it's, I don't think he was ready for it, but Yuki for sure stepped up, showed up, and, listen, it was a roller coaster weekend, I'm sure, for him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now it's up to Red Bull to figure this out. So one of the announcers, I think, was talking about this, and they made a really incredible point. I think it was the American announcer, I forget his name, but he said that Max Verstappen is the greatest thing to happen to Red Bull and the worst thing to happen to Red Bull, because obviously they want the fastest car, and this man can extrapolate so much out of this car, and then they go to ask a normal person to do it, and they simply can't do it. So now they've engineered this car to be so ridiculous based on someone who's also so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And no one can keep up with that. So that was pretty wild for me to even think of it that way. But now they need to almost reverse engineer how they're going to figure out a car for Yuki to drive. And again, he's proven that he can do well.
Yeah. No, I mean, even before we get into like, we can kind of like bounce around a little bit, but I think before we get into like qualifying, talking about what happened there, I think that big crash with Jack doing was
tough.
I don't know if this is 100% true, but I heard it was almost 50 G's.
Yeah.
I think
That is insane, and that's the second crash of the season for him. And Alpine is not a Red Bull, they're not a Mercedes, not Ferrari, they're not McLaren, so Alpine doesn't have the kind of budget to be dishing out. I heard it was over $1 million worth of damage on that car. That just put things into perspective of how much these cars cost.
Yeah.
But I mean, so supposedly what happened was, this might sound a little funny to you guys, but and again, take this with a grain of salt, I don't know how accurate this is, but I read somewhere where he was in a sim and he took that first turn one with DRS open in the sim, thinking that you could take that turn with DRS open. First of all, it's insane.
Wait, is that a whole DRS open? The S's?
No. So start finish, that's straight. That's only that's the only DRS zone in the whole entire track. But during the free practice, so the thing is, I always thought that when you press on the brakes, DRS shuts off.
Yeah, that's true.
But apparently there's a mode maybe where you manually could turn it off too.
That's crazy.
So I don't know if he miscalculated, thinking I could go into this with DRS open and I will either I'm gonna just turn it off when I press on the brakes, because technically you could take turn one full and then into turn two you brake. And then you could, so I think what drivers do is they shut it off manually before turn one, or right as they're going into turn one to slow down. But I think he kept it open.
Okay, I see.
And I guess he tried that on the sim and thought, let me try this, see what happens. But it turned out to be such a major cost to him and, the car, and it's just complete miscalculation, I think. It's just funny at the same time, thinking like you pulled it off in a sim. Like there's a lot of shit that I probably do on a sim, but
you got some guts to do that.
Yeah. So that's what caused for him to go off, and
he hit that wall hard.
Hard. Yeah, that's the thing. I think most of the crashes, even this year that we've seen, I mean, they're not going that fast to begin with. It's usually between drivers making turns, they're already slowing down, but that was a full, flat out, like just full spin.
The only time I've seen a crash like that was when Lewis and Max were going at it in Silverstone, and Max clipped the front of Lewis's front wing, and he went going into one of the walls. And
well, just for reference, I mean, I do think they're going fast. For us, 80 to 100 miles per hour for F1 is not fast. But for everyone else, imagine getting into an accident like that.
Right.
They're going pretty fast.
Right.
But relative to F1, it wasn't. Most of the crashes are usually not that bad.
You're not seeing full throttle crashes pretty often.
That was crazy.
So I wonder what's going to happen now with that. Like, do you think, like Matthew, do you think Colapinto is like, hey guys, like I'm right here, like I will not crash the car like that? I mean, we're so hard to criticize, right?
Yeah.
Being where we're at, but I think with, that crash and the amount of money that it cost, like I'm sure it's a huge pain for the team, especially for the engineers and the mechanics to spend all night fixing that car up before the next session.
This is already well documented for Alpine. They've seen what's happened with Williams last year, and they had Logan Sargent just destroying their car so much right at the beginning, um, and so I don't think they want to repeat any of that, and they have Colapinto kind of waiting there as one of their reserves. So well, I don't know what they're gonna do. I think maybe, hopefully they give him another shot. Jack seems like,
I think they will. Yeah,
like he can pull some stuff together, but this is F1. I mean, this is what they do.
Well, who's the other rookie? Behrman. So impressed with him, and Hadjar, who finished
Hadjar's my man now.
Dude, finished what, P3 or something like that, or was it P3 and P2? So that was crazy. But I mean, Ali, like, we don't really speak about him often, but that kid is getting points for Haas.
Yes,
he's being consistent out there, and that's really impressive for a rookie, I think.
Yeah, especially with Ocon as his teammate. He's pulling out more from that car than I think anyone has for a good while.
And Haas had the best livery, just saying, in my opinion. Their livery this weekend was
that Rebel livery was beautiful to me. I don't know.
The white was nice.
The white and the dark, like, metallic red, like that was it definitely topped they were supposed to do it a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it was really exciting. But again, P1, P2, P3 is great, but it all comes down to the quality and who can really take most of the car to max performance. And qualifications was probably the most exciting part of the entire weekend, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah,
quality was insane.
Max just, I get so angry sometimes watching him race.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how he does this stuff, man. He's just in a whole other world with a car that is arguably like number 3, number 4.
It was number 3, number 4. The entire weekend was number 3, number 4. Like I was not anticipating him being even any close, but insane.
If you're looking at the stats, like current standings for constructors, I mean, granted, we're only three races in. Technically, Red Bull has the 3rd fastest car, and this guy managed to put it on pole with the 3rd fastest car on the grid. You could even argue that Ferrari is faster than the Red Bull car right now. So you could even say 4th fastest car. Because what we have McLaren, Mercedes is that's another team I want to talk about, because Mercedes has been doing great, but they're extremely fast. McLaren, we know, is really fast. Ferrari's cars are fast as well, and then Red Bull. But, that was honestly, seeing that, I have no idea how he's able to do it. And I think he was pushing that car to the limit. And it's like, you could give Max a car that's like 80% of like, and he will find the next, like, he will find that additional 20 to make that car 100. Like, he is insane. And I know when Eddie, my good friend that I used to sim race with online, if he was a super Max Verstappen fan, and he would always tell me, but man, I've kind of seen it. I've seen it from before, but I think this weekend definitely, I've always had respect for Max, but damn, I think he is the current GOAT for Formula One right now.
It's unnatural. I was texting someone on Instagram. I was like, he's just an animal of a person. I don't know if anyone else can do what he does.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder, how much longer do you think he'll stick around with Red Bull? Because obviously next year with the changes, it's gonna, we don't know what car is gonna be dominant, but I feel like that guy can do anything with like any car. And so
give him
like
the kit car. Haas.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you really think about, the margins between all the cars are not as big as it used to be, right? So if you really think about, like, giving Max a midfield car, right? Whether that's like Williams or, Haas or Alpine, right? I have a feeling this guy would probably put it on pole with those
yeah.
cars too, which is insane. He was on the limit, like barely like track limits, keeping it like taking like the curb, as much curb as possible, with so much confidence. I don't even think like, I don't know. It kind of reminds me of, people talk about Ayrton Senna's lap during Monaco, you know, and Senna was he like lapped his teammate at the time, but he was like, he talks about how like you kind of go into this zone kind of thing. Everything just kind of goes away, and you are just, it's like you're like one with the car, and it's like a natural thing, and it's like you're not even thinking about you racing. It's kind of like you're like in this weird zone. I don't know. And it's Senna, in an interview, he talks about it and how he felt like he was like kind of like this spiritual thing. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like Max kind of was in that during this lap, even though it's a random like, and it's not like we're really early in the season. I don't know. I was just blown away by that lap. I cannot believe he was able to do that.
His reaction was everything.
Yeah.
I mean, he usually, if he comes in P1, I mean, he'll say great job to the engineers. But when he came in P1, he was incredibly happy. He even I think he said something on the radio, and then after that, you can see it on his face. He was like, "Holy shit, did I just do that?"
Yeah.
And he said he almost crashed 5 times or something like that. So even to like for him to show that emotion, that man was pushing and was pushing hard. And I think it's awesome, the little ghost view that they have where they show both Norris and Verstappen driving. I think that's the coolest thing that they've introduced in recent days. But yeah, I mean, he was impressed with himself almost.
Yeah, he definitely was. Even Fernando Alonso, like if you look at the during in Q3, Fernando Alonso was getting interviewed, and he looked so happy, and he even says it like, just like only Max could do that. Like, like he was just like a dad watching his son. Like it was like, because he's so older, but Fernando Alonso is also like an incredible driver. But it's like he's even recognizing the greatness that's in front of him right now. And I don't know. I think everybody was just like, holy shit! Like, what an incredible lap that was.
Yeah, but again, this works, and for Japan, it's not going to be the same for all of these other tracks. And he even said it himself, like, we'll take this win here, but things are not going to be the same. When they asked him whether or not he thinks this is going to be a consistent thing for him, he said no. He said, no, we still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Especially for the races that are coming up. And Bahrain being one that I think is really, really tough on the tires is something that they'll focus on.
Yeah. Something... It was this whole race was weird though, because after qualifying you would, how can I say it, like Max is so dominant obviously, but you have McLaren P1 and P2 or P2 and P3 behind him, right, the entire race with a pretty healthy gap to P4, and they just didn't do anything. They didn't bother trying anything. Like at some point Oscar was closing in on Lando in second, and he's like, let me try to get something over on Max, and I don't understand their mindset, because they have nothing to lose to do that. This is the opportunity to put some pressure on Max when it counts, and the worst case, just swap your drivers back and you still end up second and third.
So this is what I'm saying, that they need to solidify a driver. And I know that's a difficult decision, but like they need to make decisions. Even though I think Piastri said that probably with 10 laps left, which I still don't know if that was enough. And then they ended up having to pit him. They boxed him, and Lando boxed with Max, and they had that little weird thing.
It was a little weird like strategy. I think everybody was, even the commentators were a little like taken back by like the strategy across the board for everybody, right? It's like nobody is doing anything to try to like, I thought when they were telling Lando to push, he was close enough where maybe there's a now we're getting into the race, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Now we're talking about the race now. Max, as we know, put in an incredible lap in qualifying, fucking amazing. That was beautiful. Freaking cannot believe he did that. And then we start the race. Which, by the way, do you guys remember your predictions at all?
Ooh. I definitely said, I think it was for me 2 McLarens and a Ferrari.
Yeah.
That was my predictions.
I don't want to lie. I don't remember mine.
I think I'll have to check. If
Well-
anything, maybe we can put them on the screen, our predictions.
Yeah. I could have sworn I mentioned something about Max winning. I don't know. But I could be wrong. I know I mentioned like Ferrari. We kind of did 2 things, right? It's like in a beautiful world, like Lewis would win, obviously, or Yuki would be pole, whatever. But I think we were wrong. Whatever our predictions are, we were wrong. But next time we'll remember them so that way we could kind of see how we did. But now we're in a race, yeah. So the race starts, all that, and then going into like the Max and McLaren. I thought when they were telling Lando Norris to start pushing, that they were going to try to undercut Max. Max is going to go into pit. He was going to stay out, and he was going to push out lap into the pit in hopes to gain a couple of seconds, or not even a couple of milliseconds, whatever. So that way, when they pit, they come out in front of Max, or like using Piastri as well, right? It's like have him at least pit before. I don't know. But across the board, I think everybody just kind of like, it's like the strategy was completely just
There was none.
Yeah.
I feel like there was none.
Yeah.
I think out of the top 10, the only placement switch was Lewis Hamilton and Isaac. It's the
Isaac,
only placement switch, meaning that everyone who qualified pretty much stayed in the same spot.
Yeah. Yuki definitely gained some, and going kind of bouncing back to qualifying, I do think if they put Yuki in new tires for Q3, I'm unsure as to why he didn't either. I don't know if it was like they didn't allow him to go out, or he had used tires during the Q3, but I think he would have put at least top 5 or top, like, in terms of starting grid. I'm not sure what the strategy was there. I don't think it's Yuki's fault that he started.
No, I mean, there was grass catching on fire and stuff like that, so that limited time, and then it was a little strange. I do think they should have put him on fresh tires. I guess they trusted that he can do it, but
which is good in a way, right? It's like
I think it was clear to them that
it was clear to them.
Yeah, that he has the potential to do this, and had he gone into the last qualifying session on fresh set of tires like what they were planning, I think that it would have been a completely different race. Obviously, a lot more
he did
fighting. I would say, but
he did fight, like he did make up some places, and
he did,
and he definitely finished better than Lawson
lost places.
Yeah. And I mean, Hadjar is also like the benchmark now for the RB team. Like he's consistently making it through all the qualifying, and he was having some issues with his belt. Where he was like, I don't know if it was pain or something.
What was going on there? Because he seemed like he was really struggling. I was like, somebody help this kid, please. Like he's really struggling on the radio. I'm like, someone pull the car over. Let's figure this out.
Yeah. I don't know what it was. I think it might have been the seatbelt. Because during one of the Q1, I think after he made it through Q1, I think he got out the car and they fixed it, whatever it was.
It was cool though that he was able to, out qualify his hero Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
Even though Lewis passed him, but it's still pretty cool. I'm sure that's something that he's gonna remember for a good amount of time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, speaking about Lewis, Ferrari still, again, nothing is happening with them. I think there was a slight little interview, or Lewis mentioned something about they figured out something and why he hasn't been performing so well, and he hopes that they can fix it for the next race to really get him there. I don't know what that's all about, but they're struggling a little.
Yeah, it's nerve wracking. It's still very early, but I'm hoping Ferrari can pick it up. I would hate to see them kind of get lost in the lower end of the front. Like I was kind of expecting Mercedes to be there this year, to be honest, but Mercedes has been killing it, honestly. Antonelli,
Yeah.
I yeah, I see why Toto like grabbed him over
Yeah.
anyone else. Like there's a lot of potential in that kid, and
Yeah.
He got fastest lap or something like that, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Towards the end.
Joe, fastest lap.
Yeah. It doesn't matter anymore as the points don't count.
Yeah.
But
Still pretty cool.
Still, yeah, still is pretty cool. But yeah, I hope Ferrari. Yeah, I hope Ferrari gets it together. And I mean, I don't know. I read an interview where Hamilton's expectations weren't like we're going to be dominating, you know, because I mean,
Sure.
Ferrari did so well last year, and I know that the car has a potential because I would if it's anything like last year's car, you know, I would assume some improvements have been made. You know, they're going to be getting some upgrades soon, all those kind of things. I mean, I know he's still kind of going back and forth with the radio, with his radio and the guy, trying to figure out like, you know, there was a radio where, you know, the guy was telling him, you know, that he's slow on these corners or, you know, which sectors or which corner. And he's just trying to like, tell me more, like what, by how much, you know,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that's, I wouldn't say that's part of it. I don't know. I have no idea.
So, I mean, with any partnership, man. I mean, you can think of any partnership. It's going to be, you're going to have to put a lot of reps in, and it's going to take time for them to build and mesh and come up with like communication style that's going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking, you know, all of these years with Bono, for him to, I'm sure that took a while also, but yeah, he's going to need to figure something out. I don't know what's the etiquette on be like, hey, can I just get another engineer? Is that possible? I don't even know how that works.
I can imagine how nervous that guy is too.
I bet.
And it's one of the things with Formula One too. Like you don't get the reps, like you were saying. Like any other sport, you can practice whenever you want, really. But with this, you're stuck on the sims, and those can only give you so much. And you get 3 sessions, and then you go out and race, and then you're on a whole other new track and all this stuff. And so it's definitely difficult for them to pick it up. And I hope they can get it figured out. I don't know that he needs a new engineer. I think it's still just ironing stuff out. But speaking of radio stuff, Alex Albon.
Oh my god!
And his interaction with us, that guy's amazing. It's awesome. He
seems like the nicest jokester type dude, and then on the radio is like, "You better get me this right now. I need it right now. Don't ask me a question. No questions asked." That he was a little scary, not gonna lie.
Yeah, but he backs it up.
It's the adrenaline. He does.
Yeah, he's been doing great. Yeah. It's nice to see. I think having Carlos Sainz on your team has probably lit a fire under his ass. He's just like, I need to let everybody know that I am the one right now.
Oh yeah, that's true. They did mention that everyone was talking about Carlos Sainz joining and how he's going to take the team to the next level. And you know, Albon's been there for a while too. Yeah. Like, why did you guys forget about me?
Yeah.
Like, what's the deal? I've been here for a little bit. Like, show me some respect too. Yeah. Maybe that's playing part of it.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it is. He's just like, but also like Carlos Sainz is a race winner, you know, and he's coming from, you know, McLaren, Ferrari. He has that experience. He knows what works, what doesn't. And I just think Carlos is just getting used to the Williams cars. Obviously completely different than what he's used to, you know, and I think I am not expecting Carlos. I would hope that throughout the year it's improving, or he will be as close to Albon as possible. But again, new car, new team, new engineers, very similar to like a Lewis situation where, you know, you're being put in a car that's obviously a lot slower than what you have been used to, and it's a completely new dynamic. And I think for Carlos, he's just trying to like figure out everything, and he's doing it. You know, I think he's gonna be fine. Honestly, I think he's going to be a huge bonus for Williams.
Didn't he miss a pit? He missed the pit and had to go back out again.
He's like, oh shit, I forgot.
Yeah, that was too funny.
Yeah, I think all of this has just been quite the experience to see, honestly.
Yeah.
Just the mix up with teams, and the new drivers on this team and the rookies and all that. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season.
Oh yeah. I mean, we said in the beginning we're going to see a lot of crashes from the rookies. Jack has been checking those boxes for us.
Yeah.
But I wasn't anticipating such great performance for some of them too.
Yeah.
Ollie doing fantastic, but Isaac and Kimmy just doing also so well. I thought they were going to just be lapped because of their inexperience, but they're really sticking up there with the top drivers, and this is really exciting to see. And I'm sure that the teams are relieved to see that they can still get the points with these guys.
Yeah. Yes. I've been really, like, honestly, like, the two rookies, Kimmy and Isaac, have been like the guys that's just been so impressive this season so far, and we're just getting started. And it seems like these guys have just been, they're so comfortable in their car. Kimmy is just a little freak. Like, he's so just chill, and he's so funny too. He's just like, he reminds me so much of just Alex, our youngest brother. Just thinking about it, like, the kid is 18 years old,
still going to school, still have to do classes.
Yes, and he's still a jokester.
After school, he has to go drive an F1 car.
Yes, which is crazy. Just think about that. Like, and I gotta give him a lot of respect too, because I was listening to an interview with him, and he's just like, I gotta finish school. I have to finish it. I'm doing it for my mom. I mean, if you really think about it, he could drop out if he wanted to, but I think for him, he started something, he wants to finish it. He's studying after every race for a test. All those I think that's phenomenal.
That's awesome.
That's such a great role model for any young driver that's looking to, and I think a lot of that also comes from Lewis's influence on him, because Lewis is always to these young guys like, stay in school, learn all those kind of things, and I think Kimmy is kind of following in those footsteps of, like, I don't know if these conversations have happened behind closed doors, but I would assume they had, right? And Kimmy is getting into a Formula One team, still finishing school, still studying, still learning, and I think that's awesome. I think who knows what? Yeah, it's super impressive, And I'm sure everybody thought, going into the rookies is, Lawson's going to be the rookie to look at. Like, Lawson's going to be the one. I hate that we shit on Lawson so much.
I mean, he's going through a rough patch.
I know he's going through a rough patch.
He'll be fine.
And I think there are people that probably feel the same way, because Drive to Survive made him seem like he was an evil, well, not evil, the villain. And he was like, I didn't come here to make friends. And, like, the way they made it, like Daniel Ricciardo leaving and, like, all that stuff, and Lawson coming in and just completely taking over, and then now with Sergio Perez being gone and him coming in, like, I'm the guy, and but I heard that he's such a nice person.
Oh, I'm sure
and he seems like he's so, like, cool. I would love to interview him one day, but if you fucking Drive to Survive, yeah. Oh, like Lightning.
Yeah. Every time I
fine.
see him interviewed, it's always about that. He seems cool. He seems cool. It's a lot of pressure. I can't even imagine, like,
for sure,
the situation that they're in. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. The rookies are probably the most interesting part of what's going on right now. Obviously, the stuff with McLaren in the front is awesome, but every time I see Isaac, especially sort of driving, or even the way he talks to his engineer about stuff, like, it's impressive, and I want to see him. I want to see him do well. I don't know that he. I don't know that he can pull off a win this year in that car, but
never know. Just takes a wet race. It takes one wet race to turn things all around.
Yeah.
I really, really wish I can go to a race this year. Really hoping to go to Austin.
Yeah.
That would be ideal. To go to another race again to see these guys race would be sick, especially with all the rookies.
Yeah, we got to make it happen somehow. We got to figure it out. All All right.
Next race.
That was, yeah, let's talk about the next race. Talk about our predictions for Bahrain, which is odd to have it so, like, it's not so far
Yeah,
out,
it's
but
usually like
it's the first one typically. At least I'm used to it, but
I thought it was going to be the first one this year, but they
maybe
changed
the
it.
practice is there, yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Bahrain. It's definitely a track that's the tire degradation is. I
Yeah.
think it's definitely going to be a two-stopper for sure.
Oh, really?
I think so. I think historically it is
Okay.
just because the tires tend to go. But then again, I could be wrong, and yeah, take what I say with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But I guess what we have this weekend coming up, Bahrain, and then after that we have Saudi Arabia. Let's just go into predictions, I guess.
Yeah, let's do predictions. I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna stick with McLaren's up front. I think that's still gonna be the case. After that little interview that Lewis gave, saying that, oh no, we figured it out now. That scares me because now I feel like he's just gonna come out of nowhere and
Yeah.
just absolutely add another like
I hope.
half a second to his pace. And so yeah, I'm gonna say two McLarens. I'm gonna say still Norris, Piastri, and then Lewis for P3.
Interesting. Don't get me hyped, man. I would always put Lewis at first, but I don't think we're gonna have a Ferrari this next race. No, I think it's gonna be McLaren and Max. I feel like building off this momentum, Max is like, even though he's, saying like I don't think this is gonna be a consistent thing. I have a feeling Max is gonna somehow be P1 qualifying. I don't know. It's just something just tells me. Bahrain is much more of a forgiving track too.
Okay.
There is a lot of runoff as well. There's not that much like gravel, so it's actually like a big, not stadium. But
Yeah, we'll
like,
show a little
yeah.
like map of what that
Yeah.
track looks like.
So there's a lot of runoff. There's a lot of that. So I do think we're gonna get like it's gonna be Red Bull, McLaren for sure, top three. I just don't know in what order.
Mm.
To be fair, but if you guys force me to put an order,
Yeah,
I
put an
think it's
order.
gonna be. I have a feeling it's gonna be Norris, Max, Piastri.
Ooh, that's a solid.
I was
Yeah.
That's
yeah, I
solid.
was just gonna say the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know much about Bahrain. I think this was the first one last year, right? I didn't really start watching until right before Miami, but yeah, the McLarens they're up there, they're doing it. I'm hopeful for Lando always, but Max is just scary. I get the feeling I'll do a crazy prediction that Max and Lando are gonna get in each other's way, and Oscar will just make his way
Yeah.
through. I think it'd be I like Lando. I'm rooting for him, but I think Oscar's gonna stick his his tires in there as much as he can, just take advantage of an opportunity and
Absolutely. I think he's trying to be like, guys, like, don't forget about me. Like, I can,
yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm just as fast, if not faster.
You
Like,
know, that's
y'all need to
that's
make some
the
room for
thing.
me.
Yeah, McLaren keeps saying they have two, number one drivers and this and that, but they don't really treat it that way. It doesn't seem
No.
like, and
No. I do think Lando is their number one. Let's be real.
I agree.
Like, let's, without saying it out loud, like Lando is definitely going to be their number one driver.
Yeah. Well, I guess until next week is going to be exciting to see.
Yeah, it is. Let's see what happens, and let's definitely play this back, see where we landed with everything.
Yeah, we'll
But-
put our predictions up and kind of see what it looks like.
Cool. And before we wrap it up, is there any last thoughts, things that we should? Could be anything.
One thing that I want people to know, I went to actually my local Pokemon card store here in New York City.
Drop the name.
The Pokecourt, amazing place. But there was a person there that wanted to learn a little bit more about like the sport, and I want to go to one of these races, but it's too expensive. Like it's really not. Like I really recommend everyone go in there, do a little bit of research. There's ways for you to get to these races with very little spend. These ticket prices can be absolutely outrageous, but I really encourage everyone to get into the sport. Go visit one. The sounds and smells are unlike anything.
Yeah.
And it's a very low cost to entry relative to all of the other tickets. So I definitely suggest you do that. So don't be scared is what my last thought would be.
No, piggybacking off of that, I agree 100%. Like, people look at the sport and they're like luxury, ultra luxury, all that stuff. They think about the salaries of the drivers, how much money these guys are putting into these cars. But I think there's a correction that's been made with Formula One and United States market, and just the fans. You know, I'm going to use Las Vegas as an example. You know, when Las Vegas first was announced, the ticket prices were ridiculous, like expensive. But the feedback and the pushback from the fans, which is like, guys, like, what the hell is this? Like, nobody could afford this. And there's been a huge price correction on the prices. And I think it's way more affordable. And I think if you really consider getting tickets, you know, get grandstand tickets. They're 100% worth getting. If you really think about being there 3 days and you have a dedicated spot where you can sit, it's like worth it.
I mean, that's ideal. But GA is also not bad.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot that's going on all over the place that I suggest you can go and visit. True. So, and those are super, super cheaper.
Super cheap. Like $300, $400.
Yeah, as far as like, you know, trying to get into it all, obviously going to a race is awesome, but even it's difficult with the timing of all these races. They're switching up. It's the middle of the night sometimes or whatever, but I love watching just the highlights and stuff on F1's YouTube channel. I think you can get a lot from that as far as like trying to understand what's going on throughout the race and throughout the sport. So do that. There's it's not as complicated as it might seem.
Yeah.
But if you have any questions, you know, throw a question on all of our tags at Turn 14 podcast.
Yeah.
Happy to answer them. I know it's a sport that's not necessarily watched by majority of people. I know it's kind of a little bit of a niche in relative speaking, but we're always happy to share our thoughts and insight into how you can possibly visit a race or where to watch it, or if you're trying to understand it a little bit better. Always love to
advice. Absolutely. Like all that. The door is open with all of us. We'll be more than happy to like have conversations about it. Like any questions you have, let us know. We're easy to contact. You can shoot us a DM, you know, comment on one of our posts. It doesn't matter. We'll definitely love to chat it up, and you know, whatever questions you have, more than happy to answer for sure.
Well, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Again, follow us at Turn 14 podcast. And I guess we'll speak with you on the next one.
Sounds good. Have a good one, everybody. See ya.
You see that purple sector for Logan Sargent?